My name is Harold Rademacher. What can I tell you about Buddy and I grew up together? We were 2 years apart, and we played in the same house together, same neighborhoods. We played a lot of ball, growing up together, being together for a lifetime. So I'm going to try and give you a few words. Hopefully, I won't repeat too many things that everybody has heard Buddy and I talk about for about 81 years. But we had a 2-year difference. Our dads were in the Army, stationed in Rio Grande City. Buddy and I were friends from about the age of 6 to 8 years old. He was 6 and I was 8. And we played, and I used to go over to his house, and my mother and his mother were friends, and they worked together. And my mother worked in the chapel, and she worked in playing the piano for the church services. But we played many neighborhood games together all the time, and just he and I used to probably be together more often than anybody else, and everybody started noticing that when we started playing baseball. So we played a lot of baseball in Mexico. We played semi-pro, we played pro, and we had a grand time over there, and they would come by and pick us up in Rio Grande City, pitcher and catcher, and we took care of them. But it was we had a great time together because we knew exactly what to do, and he helped me get to where I got. And both of us, by the way, eventually made the Rio Grande Valley Hall of Fame in baseball. And then later they gave me the Band Directors Hall of Fame in band directing there in the Valley. And Buddy, if he had been a band director, he probably would have been in the Hall of Fame. Because Buddy was all Valley band on the baritone. A lot of people didn't know that because he was a good coach, he was a good athlete, and he was all district in everything. Baseball, basketball, and football. Great player in each one of those. He was, we played American Legion ball during the summers, and he was responsible for me pitching 3 no-hitters in a row. He was my catcher. And if a lot of you know baseball, 3 no-hitters in a row is awesome. Thank you, buddy. But he called most of my pitches. I hardly ever shook him off on anything. And those 3 games, I averaged 17 strikeouts a game for a 7-inning ball game. So that to me was also very special. And like I said, he helped make me what I later became. And both of us, of course, in the Hall of Fame. And Buddy had many all-district honors. Buddy also made the All-Valley Band, and he played baritone. I left Rio Grande City in 1951. I was 17 years old. And Buddy was, what am I going to do? I think he said that to himself. But he later graduated and had many honors there in Rio Grande City, and later graduated. I got to University of Texas in Austin, and Buddy hitchhiked about 2 or 3 times to come to Austin. And we had a grand time, and of course, I joined the Longhorn Band. I got all my music hours there. And Buddy was responsible for getting into the free games at the Longhorn Stadium because I used to give him an instrument case or 2, and I told everybody that he was our manager for the Longhorn Band. So, those are true stories, and sometimes if I add a little bit more to it, it's probably true. But yeah, but he hitchhiked a couple of times all the way to San Antonio, and then from there to Austin, and that trip. So he also, that day that he got in free of charge, he sat with the Longhorn Band and helped lead the yells to the cheerleaders and stuff. So we were on target. I'm hoping that some of these things that I'm telling you now, because all the family has heard all the stories and countless of times, but there might be one or two more, you know. I remember playing in Camargo, across the border from Rio Grande City, and a lot of those little towns that were right across the border, and we were playing, and it was a tight ball game, and I was pitching and he was catching, and we were leading, and the people there didn't have grandstands. They had just down the first base line, down the third base line, and they were getting a little angry, and we didn't have any police there. And to top it all off, and this is a very true story, the backstop where Buddy was a cemetery. And all you could see behind Buddy was tombstones. And when he'd miss a ball, or because I threw it in the dirt or something like that, I was getting nervous about the people kind of closing in on us. He went to go get the ball, and he was looking for it amongst the tombstones that were there. So the manager said, "You guys run off the field, get on our truck," and we had an open-ended truck, and so we all ran, and I was one of the last ones to get a hold of the truck and jump on, and we made it safely back to the United States. But it was those were fun times, and we had a good time playing ball. And of course, like I said, we have a lot of memories that probably we could write books on. And I think I'm going to have Wayne and some of these family members that remember more than I do to do that. But I hope all of you and family and friends go with the Lord. God bless all of you, and be safe on your way home, especially with our weather. Thank you.
Why do I have to follow Harold Rademacher? But I do. Harold failed to mention that it was actually Celia, his wife, that introduced my mother to my father. She was telling us this story. It was her best friend with Dad's best friend, and so started a beautiful love story. So I want to make sure that I mention that relationship that my mother and father had, thanks to Celia and Harold, and I appreciate you speaking, Harold. Thank you again for y'all being here. Appreciate you, especially with the weather. I am Lisa Marie. If you don't know me, I'm one of the daughters of Buddy Williams, the eldest. I chose to follow my father's footsteps in the coaching ranks. So I'm proud to say that the advice that he's given me throughout the years has helped me get where I'm at. I've been at the same high school for 21 years and I've experienced a lot of success, but again, it all goes back to wanted to make my dad proud, and I think I did. And I'm going to miss all the words of advice as I continue my career to try to honor my dad. Tonight, again, for my family, for my brothers and sisters, I wanted to let you know what a wonderful dad he was. I'm going to let you in on a little part of who Buddy Williams was, and that was a great father. My dad always wanted a big family. Some say he wanted a baseball team. Well, he got his infield. Lester was the pitcher, catcher, Wayne. I think I was first base. Second, Carla. Third, Karen. And Angela, we put her in the shortstop. So he got it, even though I know Angela thinks she's the pitcher of the family. For as long as I can remember, Dad was a man who liked to talk a lot and express his feelings. You know, not a lot of men do that, but my father was someone that expressed his feelings and let us know what he was thinking. And he would always give us kids the same talk. I know y'all remember it. I think he started when he was like 28 years old, probably 30. He'd give us this, guys, I'm not going to be around here much longer. What are y'all going to do? And we had a lot of jokes. Lester was going to throw him in the Rio Grande River. if he told that story one more time. And it was something that he always wanted to find out what we were going to do, because his biggest concern was that we stay together as a family. I forgot I need glasses. So again, he would say, what are y'all going to do? I need to know what y'all are going to do for it. He reminded us that all we have in the end is family. I can't look up at you with glasses, so I'm going to look down and finish. I get a little dizzy. He wanted to make sure that we loved each other, and that was of great importance to him. He wanted to make sure we stayed together no matter what. As we grew up and went through life's ups and downs, here we are, still together. I'm dizzy again. This is better. Dad's legacy will live on through all of us, because we all know how important the concept of family was to him. Believe me, we heard it through every toast or brindis that he gave. You can find my family together in one way or another, pretty much each weekend. I miss out a lot because I'm in Shreveport, but I know they're always together one night of the weekend, and that's something that I'm very proud of, and it's something, again, that he taught us to do. As he grew older and his grandchildren became part of our lives, he was just as involved as he was in our lives, in their activities. And as you'll see in the video in a little bit, he was pretty much, my mom and him, at everything. That was very important to show not only us, but our kids, ourselves, that again, family is important, and that he was there to support you throughout. I know that our kids see us and appreciate that, and Grandpa wishes will remain alive because they see our example. And as you can see, we're all together tonight supporting. The last 2 months have been very hard, but we've been together throughout, supporting each other. Growing up, just as any little girl wishes and knows, I was so in love with my father. And he always made each one of us feel like we were daddy's girls, right? He, again, always expressed his love for us every time we saw him, and told us how proud he was of us. He made all of us feel like we were the only one. I love you, mija. I'm so proud of you. Dad made his sons know as well. Lester even had him watching Project Runway. Something we never thought would happen. And Dancing with the Stars. Lester, on the other hand, because Wayne did it all the time, Wayne watched sports with him. That's all they did. Lester actually watched the Maverick game, became a Cowboy fan, and the Rangers. Lord, that's a lot to sit and watch a baseball game unless it's live. So they also had a special relationship with my father. You know, there's 6 of us, so we were always fighting for his attention, and he gave it to us. That was something he always did. Dad had a way of making everyone feel like you were his favorite. As we married and brought more people into our family, he made each brother-in-law, our sister-in-law, feel special. My husband, Chuck, will tell you today that he's his favorite. But I have a feeling Alfonso, Manuel, and William will all argue that. Because again, that's the kind of guy he was. Dad was a man who never hesitated to share his accomplishments with us. Some may have called him boastful. We just called him proud. My dad has been inducted to several Hall of Fames, as Harold told you. So we said, it is true. I want to read you, I know Harold said something about the legend, is what he called himself, Mr. Rio Grande City. When, as we got older, again, we went to the Hall of Fame inductions, and this is something that we had recently found that when he was inducted to the Rattlers Hall of Fame. I'll kind of summarize. Ready for this, Mr. Cortez? The Rattler Hall of Fame, one of the greatest of all greats, Mr. Athlete of Rio Grande City. Probably the best all-around player to carry the Rattler colors, the immortal Lester Buddy Williams. And again, he was a player through 54, and believe it or not, Buddy was captain of 1952, 53, and 54 football, basketball, and baseball Rattler teams. And as Mr. Rademacher said, as consecutive years, he was all district in football, basketball, baseball, and all Valley in band. In 1953, he won the Valley scoring championship with 112 points. Juan Solis was runner-up in scoring that year. Aside from being blessed with tremendous athletic ability, Buddy was all Valley in baritone in the Rattler band. He won 10 medals competing in solos and ensembles. He even participated in the halftime shows with his uniform. After graduating from high school, Williams served in the U.S. Armed Forces in Alaska. He later graduated from St. Mary's University in San Antonio, Texas, where he was a Rattlers baseball star. Never forgetting his playing instrument, he also played at the University of St. Mary's Band and the Military Symphonic Band. Buddy hugged Juan Solis, this is so my dad, upon receiving his Hall of Fame plaque, and was heard to comment to Juan, "I made you great, Juan. But I also know you made me what I am." William coached Rio Grande City from 1960 to 65, and his 60 baseball team won the district championship. So there it is. It was true. Dad also instilled a work ethic in all of us as he worked tirelessly with his and passion for the Department of Labor for 48 years. Dad was asked several times to move to Washington, D.C. to further his career, but he chose not to move his family there. Instead, he wanted us to call Irving our home. Dad was asked to serve I'm very proud of this, for President Clinton's cabinet, but Dad instead chose to finish his career here so he could be with his family. Some of the emails that my sister Carla has been receiving have been just tremendous, was the word my dad used to use a lot, was tremendous. We have, here's someone here that had said, "Thank you very much for sharing your dad's final days. If it's okay with you, can I share this story with the folks around the agency who I know cared for your dad?" There was a lot of emails sent around the nation, and folks are in shock and saddened by his passing. Your dad was always the example of how you should remain active, eat healthy as you age, so we all thought he would live forever. I'm sorry I didn't get to talk to him again, but very happy that he was with his family. You were his whole world, and I'm sure it was very comfort to have by your side. There was another gentleman who said, "I first met Lester in the early 70s when I came to Fort Worth with the Federal Highway Administration. I was young and patient, and I admit a hothead at times. Lester helped tone me down a bit. He was a calming influence. Over the years, I learned of the countless number of people that Lester helped make their life a better one. He certainly was a role model as a teacher, coach, and public servant. The bottom line is Lester left this earth a lot better than he found it. Many will remember him for his hard work, dedication to humanity, and his friendship. I know I will." There was one more from a fellow Golden Rattler that came that I forgot to read previously, and that is, recently Dad was down there for a barbecue. Mom and Dad went there. And the very name of Buddy Williams has always been a source of pride for many of him who saw him as a hero. Rio High has had several individuals who have given our dear school much to boast about. Buddy is among the top rung in that regard. Even in his school years, Buddy carried himself with style and grace, knowing he was admired by many. We'll miss him, and we offer Corina and his family our condolences. So you can see we had a lot of people that cared about my dad. Just wanted to share that with you. What I was most proud of, though, is finding out how many people's lives he touched. Growing up, we were surrounded by a huge family, my mom's family, with 15 kids, and we were pretty proud of that. Beautiful family, and that legacy that they passed on to us was something to be proud of. However, I'm proud to know how much everyone in that huge family loved my dad and how much they admired him. Some of their comments have been, your dad always took the time to say something to me, to ask me how I was doing. And he did that to just, we have some cousins out there, and he took the time to talk to them. And I'm getting that's to me, again, it just warms my heart to know how much everyone loved him. My aunts and uncles also loved him dearly and have told me that he never hesitated to help anyone who needed it. I'm also very proud of what a good friend he was. His lifelong friend, Harold Rademacher, proved that. He kept his friendship alive, and we always got to do things together with the Rademachers that we were just cherished forever. Dad was also committed to teaching us our heritage and never forgetting where he came from. We were part of the real Grandie families that ended up here in Dallas. The Cortez family was a huge part of that. And he always made sure that we kept our connection. And we have. The Cortezes are with us tonight as well. Mom and Dad also joined a group here in Irving called, let's see if I can say it because we thought it was hilarious, Club Continental de Irving. So it was a social/community service organization that served the small Hispanic community then here in Irving. We worked on many projects to help raise money for the underprivileged. We had raised money and did all kinds of, we would go and give shoes to the poor, and they would make us appreciate what we had. And I think for the most part, they had a great time together. Great parties. The Lermas, the Maldonados, the Arases, the Martinezes, La Fuentes, Castros, Durans. I could never say I see Eddie and Alice Duarte. I just butchered their name, I'm sorry. But that's another big family that has, all those families have stuck with us and have been a part of everything, right? Our weddings, our births of our babies, and again, now with our funerals. So we really appreciate that whole part of our lives. My dad also was a great friend to many of our groups of friends. Wayne's group, Wilk, Louie, Happy, Rick, to name a few, have been so close to my dad. My father took in many of my friends and quickly made them his. The DePetruses, he adopted a Polish family, made them fajitas all the time. The Pavlovskis, the Sullivans, Bether. My brothers and sisters also. Lester has we call her our sister Vicky, took her in. And Karen's group, Val, that whole group, they can all call him their friend. And I'm really proud of that. So Dad, you got your wish. A strong family that will always stay together, and many, many friends that adore you. Here's to the most famous Rio Grande rattler, Mr. Buddy Williams.
Needed an extra step. Oh, I'm really nervous. I am Andie, one of Grandpa's 13 grandchildren. I wanted to come up here and say something because he always had, made speeches and toasts and everything. How did you make it without crying? Grandpa was not just any old grandpa. He was the best grandpa ever. He made it a point to be in each and every one of our lives. He was there for everything, not just, birthday parties or big events. He was there for soccer games, baseball games, basketball games, homecoming presentation court at school. He was there for our art shows and even made it to every grandparents' day at school that we had. He gave us $1 for each goal that we scored. So it motivated us to score more. And he got in trouble when Ava would score 5 goals a game, and sometimes 10. And it began to be a lot. But Grandpa was all about the bribes. He would buy us candy after church if we went to church with him on Sunday and behaved. And that is a tradition that still, stuck around for years. And we, till this day had still been going to the racetrack gas station after church to get our candy and a soda after church. So those are the little things that, I'll miss about Grandpa so much. He had, so many different traditions in our family and things that he led. He would do the prayer at, birthday parties or at Thanksgiving. He would lead that in our family. He did speeches and toasts. There's so much. He would turn us around before the piñata. We're going to miss that. He would call out and pass out all of the presents at Christmas. He would say in his grandpa voice, "To Andie." And that's something, that we're really going to miss. So, those things are what it's what makes it so hard to lose him. Because he did so many great things for our family. So, when I was younger, about Allie's age, Grandpa used to ask me all the time, "Mija, do you know why you're so pretty?" And I would just shrug my shoulders. And he said, "Because you look like your grandpa." And he said it so many times that I just, replied, "Because I look like you, Grandpa. Because I look like you." And everybody knows that I'm a clone of my mom, which is a clone of Grandma. So I'm sorry, Grandpa, but I'm all Herrera. So Grandpa, was just an awesome grandpa. He made us laugh all the time. He was so silly. He did silly dances. He, would tell us silly jokes. He would, for some reason, call us with a different middle name, like Andie McGee, Sarah Lee, Olivia Marie, and that was not our middle names. But he just loved to do that. And Grandpa, always told us how much he loved us. He would, pick out, for hours, pick out a card for your birthday that had all this writing in it, but he wanted you to read it out loud so that everyone could hear what it said, and he meant every word in those cards. And he would, not only the cards, he would, just tell us in person just how much he loved us. And every time, we got off the phone with him, every single time he would say, "I love you." So, I love you too, Grandpa. And I'm going to miss you. a whole lot.
So Andie said a lot that I would want to say too. So she spoke really well for the Cousin Club. But I do want to say that another thing about Grandpa was that he was known as El Cantador. And so he was a singer. And of all the people in the family, I'm also a singer too. And so Grandpa and Grandma would always be making me sing songs in Spanish when I don't even know what they mean. So I'm going to start off with a song. And this song is a song that's special to me because I would sing this song with Grandpa. And so that was our first and only duet in Spanish. It's called Sabor a mí. So Grandpa, this is for you. Tanto tiempo disfrutamos de ese amor. Nuestras almas ya secaron tanto así que yo guardo tu sabor, pero tú llevas también sabor a mí. Si negaras mi presencia en tu vivir, bastaría con abrazarte y conversar. Tanta vida yo te di, que por fuerza tienes ya sabor a mí. No pretendo ser tu dueña, yo soy nada, yo no tengo vanidad. De mi vida doy lo bueno, soy tan pobre que otra cosa puedo dar. Pasarán más de 1000 años, muchos más, yo no sé si tengo amor. La eternidad, pero allá tal como aquí, en la boca llevarás sabor a mí, sabor a mí. So that one was for Grandpa. And as you know, Grandpa was just the proudest grandpa you ever did know. He would always brag about us grandchildren and his children, of course, but especially his grandchildren. Every time that he introduced us, even in the hospital in the last few months, he introduced me always as his eldest grandchild girl, because Austin was first. But I was the eldest girl. And he was just so very proud of us, and he would tell everyone and tell you, and that's the most important thing, I think, to take away from Grandpa, is that he would tell you. He would tell you that he loved you, and he would tell you how proud he was of you. So I made him proud a lot of times in my life, and so one of those times was when I was accepted to the University of Texas. And I chose that school because that's the school that Grandpa liked. That was his favorite school. And so he was very proud when I decided to be a Longhorn. And then again, double proud when Andie decided to be a Longhorn as well. And then one of my favorite moments was when I graduated and he was there with me to witness that. And I do have my senior ring that Grandpa contributed to. And that's another thing about Grandpa, is that he was very generous and he was also very frugal. So at the same time, when he was very generous, he would let you know exactly why he gave you what he gave you and how important that was to him. And so you know how important it is. And he's like, I'm getting you this ring because you're a Longhorn and you make me so proud. And it was a piece of the ring. So everybody else contributed too, so thank you. But another one of my favorite moments was when I got married and Grandpa sponsored the band. And he had to tell me because that was a really big gift. And he told me every time, Mijita, this is because music is the most important part of a wedding reception. And music is very important to me, and I know it's very important to you. So this is why. And I had to talk to him a few times to get that gift out of him, but but he told me every time that was, and it really did. If I didn't have the band there, I just don't know what kind of wedding it would have been. So me and Corey were very lucky for that. And then finally, the other moment that I know that he was so proud of is when I told him that I was pregnant with my first baby, Charlie. And that was at my mom's birthday. We went out, and I surprised my mom with a birthday card that said, "Happy birthday, Grandma." And she was like, "What?" And then Grandma was there, and Grandpa was there. And Grandpa was just so happy because he told me that he didn't think that he would get to be a great grandpa. And I was like, "What are you talking about? You're going to live forever. Don't talk like that." But he's like, "No, Mijita, I'm just so happy that you're going to make me a great grandpa. Great." And he said that it's going to be a boy, and we're going to call him Buddy. And I was like, "Okay, well, if it's a girl, can we call her Buddy also?" And he said, "Sure." But I had 2 girls, so maybe I'll get a Buddy next time. But he was still very proud of my little girls, and also very proud of my state trooper. Corey's been going down to the border to Rio Grande once a month, and Grandpa would always ask me about Corey and how he was and how he's doing down there and everything. And I just think that now when Corey goes down to the border, he's going to know that he has an extra special angel that's watching over him down there. And so that was another part in my last few weeks with Grandpa. I talked with him a couple times, and I told him, and me and Andie were sitting with him in his last day in the hospital, and he was very angry. He did not want to be in the hospital. He wanted to go home. And so I told him there that, "Grandpa, I'm just so happy to be with you right now, because with my husband being a state trooper, I have to live every day like there's no tomorrow. And I have to tell him all the time how much I love him and how happy I am to be with him. And so, Grandpa, don't be mad, because we are so happy, me and Andie, to be with you right now, because we thought we were going to lose you a week ago." And then he just looked at me, because he couldn't talk very well. But he was like, "Oh, yeah, that's right." So we kept him calm, and we said a few prayers to St. Teresa for patience. But that was another lesson that I learned. So Grandpa taught me so much. Number 1 was about family. And you've heard how much of a family man he was, and how he took all of my cousins to church every Sunday and took us to the candy run afterwards to show that he was proud of us being good in church. So we will always know the importance of family. Number 2, we will always know that we need to say what we need to say and when we need to say it. We need to say, "I love you." When we love somebody, just tell them. When you're proud of somebody, pull them to the side and tell them how proud you are of them and why. And then finally, just everyone needs to know that you should live always like there's no tomorrow. Because those last few weeks that we had with Grandpa were the greatest, because we knew that he was sick. And we had our last Mardi Gras together, where we threw beads to him in the window. And this little alley in Ava had a parade with Charlie and Chelsea. And we had our moments with Grandpa, because we lived like there was no tomorrow. And I'm happy that we got to have that with him. So I will end with one more song. Just one more. And this one is for Grandma. Because Grandma was the other person who always would make me sing at the drop of a hat. That's what she says. And she'd always make me sing this one for Grandpa. So here's for you, Grandma. No existe un momento del día en que pueda apartarte de mí. El mundo parece distinto cuando no estás junto a mí. No hay bella melodía en que no surjas tú, ni yo quiero escucharla si no la escuchas tú. Oh, es que te has convertido en parte de mi alma. Ya nada me consuela si no estás tú también. Más allá de tus labios, del sol y las estrellas, contigo en la distancia, amado mío, estoy contigo en la distancia, amado mío, estoy contigo. Love you, Grandpa.